You're listening to the Luminate series on the Forward Faster podcast, providing bite-sized insights for entrepreneurs in the optics, photonics, and imaging sector.
Presbyopia, which is a gradual age-related farsightedness, affects 100% of the population over the age of 45. That's everyone. Cataracts are another common condition among older people. So imagine if you're considering surgery as a solution and you could actually preview your results. So before you commit to the correction, you could experience it and see if it's right for you. I'm Kate Leonard. I'm the digital marketing manager at NextCore, which is the administrator of Luminate, the world's only accelerator for startups with optics, photonics, and imaging-enabled technology. If you're new to the Forward Faster podcast, thanks for joining us. We've been getting to know the startups of Luminate's fourth cohort, and I'm here today with one of them. Álvaro Sánchez-Lozano is the director of business development at 2EyesVision. And 2Eyes created a head-mounted instrument that provides that preview that I was talking about, that realistic perception of the real world with multifocal correction. So you can take a look before you commit to surgery and see if it's right. So Álvaro, thank you for being here with me today.
Thank you, Kate.
I touched on it briefly in the intro, but can you just get us started by telling us more about the problem that 2EyesVision is working to solve? How big is this problem? How many people is it impacting?
Yeah, definitely. You actually mentioned it before, right? So presbyopia affects 100% of the population above 45 years old. So eventually everyone will try to read their cell phone and have some difficulties with it. Presbyopia itself is an ocular condition that makes it hard to see objects located at near distance, right? And cataracts, you mentioned them before as well, are the opacification of the crystalline lens of the eye. So at some point you need to get that solved. In order to solve that, you have surgical options. So you have to get your crystalline lens replaced with an intraocular lens. There are different types of intraocular lenses, and each one provides different vision types. And additionally, each patient has a different visual experience with those different lenses. So, it's important to be able to simulate this kind of lenses. To give a bit more information, for instance, you can have a monofocal lens that will give a patient perfect vision at one distance. So, for instance, you'll be able to look at far, but you will need reading glasses or glasses for all the other distances. But you can also get implanted multifocal lenses or corrections, which will provide the patients with good visual acuity at different distances, but in exchange of a loss of contrast in the image quality. So it's very important to identify whose patients will be able to tolerate this kind of vision, which is very beneficial for many patients. So what we have done is that we have created the SimVis technology, which is this device that you can see here. This is the first technology ever that allows a patient to experience the real world through the different corrections before they are actually implanted. So you can give them that, you can manage the expectations, you can give them that assurance and calm that everyone requires when they are going to undergo surgery.
So it seems like your technology, it's beneficial to a number of audiences. It's beneficial to the patients so that they can understand what's going to happen, but it's also beneficial to, clinicians, to eye doctors, so that they can actually perform this surgery and their patients are going to be more satisfied. And potentially in other areas of the world, you can perform more of these surgeries with greater confidence. Like I know that in the US, cataract surgery is like the number one surgery that's performed, but I'm not sure that it's the same amount of volume around the world.
Yeah, every year more than 28 million cataract surgery procedures are performed. So I think it's probably the most common surgery in any hospital worldwide.
Okay.
So this is a surgery that is very widespread. It's very safe. But the penetration of the multifocal lenses is only of around 8%. And it's estimated that only around 25% of the ophthalmologists have a continuous prescription of these multifocal lenses. So yes, this technology does benefit many parts in the process. As you mentioned, it provides the patients with certainty, or at least a reduction on uncertainty on how their vision is going to be. It allows clinicians to screen in those patients that are going to tolerate this, reducing potential conflicts after surgery by allowing to do this screening. But it's also beneficial for the intraocular lens manufacturers, because they can use the technology as a showcase to the patients to try their designs. They can also use it to validate new designs that are coming, and they can also take advantage of data that we can obtain from it to improve future designs.
Can you talk more about kind of what that patient experience is? I mean, you held up the device and it looks super, incredible, but what is that like when someone, brings it up to their eyes? Like what happens? I guess if you could share more about what that patient experience is and what the outcome is and how that works with deciding, okay, we're going to go with this route.
Yeah, okay. This is a bit difficult to explain in a screen, but the system is quite easy to use. It has been fully designed since the beginning to be used in a clinical flow. So you open it with these lateral wheels and then adjust it to the patient's head. If they have a big head, they need more adjustment like me. And then with these other wheels, you actually adjust it to the interpupillary distance so that they can see through the device. The inner part of the device is made of an optotunable lens, which is a lens that changes its shape when an electric voltage is applied. And with that, we can simulate different real patterns from market intraocular lenses. So the visual experience is like if you're seeing through, I don't want to say prismatics because it does not bring the image closer, but you're looking at the real world through the optical channel with the lens being simulated through this optotunable lens. So you can actually stand up, look around, look at your cell phone, have that perceptual experience. We actually have one doctor in the US who tried it in the co-pilot seat of the car. So that's not how we recommend to use it. Actually, in a clinical flow, we recommend more to do current established tests like visual acuity test or similar tests like that can evaluate that vision. But yeah, that's how you use it. Very simple. Actually, the device is controlled with a tablet. And in 10 minutes, you can try different designs to the patients. So it's also quite fast.
Great. And what are people doing now to kind of assess what correction is right for them? Can you talk through, are there competitors out there that are exploring devices such as yours, or what's the current workflow for ophthalmologists?
At the moment, the prescription of multifocal lenses is mainly based on the doctor's experience of simulations with contacts, lifestyle tracking devices, patient interviews, simulations with other VR systems. But with only 8% penetration, this has proven not to be that optimal. There are other devices in the market that could be considered competitors, but they don't really do the same. They don't provide that real vision experience, and they cannot provide binocular vision either. We understand that this is a new technology and it's a paradigm change, but it's important to educate the market. And we are positioned as the best alternative currently in the market.
So I'm going to switch gears just a little bit. I understand that 2EyesVision isn't the first startup you've been a part of. I'm just wondering about your journey as an entrepreneur, perhaps through 2Eyes or your previous ventures. What's the most surprising challenge you've come across as an entrepreneur?
Well, the word entrepreneur itself is a challenge.
Okay, but maybe we'll start there then. Entrepreneurs, right? So you're part of this 2Eyes team. You're part of a startup that's doing something brand new, as you just said. This is new technology. So entrepreneurs are fill in the blank. Groundbreaking. Entrepreneurs are heroes.
They sacrifice so much for a vision that they have. And they're willing to put everything in stake to make that dream come true. That's truth. I don't think there is anything more real than that in their vision to change the world, actually. So yeah, I actually admire every single entrepreneur out there, whether they are in listed companies or in their early stage, or even when they have had previous failures. It's very hard. It's extremely, extremely hard to make a project become a reality. So yeah, my respect for everyone out there that is creating their own company.
Well, I love that answer. That's phenomenal. And you nodded to, it's very hard, right? So talk about those challenges, because you are an entrepreneur. As part of the 2EyesVision team, you are an entrepreneur. What about those challenges? Like what's the most significant one maybe that you've come across, or one of them?
well, every day is a challenge. So you have cash issues, you have technical issues, you have customer issues. So especially when you're an entrepreneur, you have to rely on your team, and everyone has to do a bit of everything. So I wouldn't be able to pick just one challenge. So everything is a challenge. So as mentioned before, you have to manage your cash. You have to convince the investors. You have to convince the clients. You have to make the product work fine. And all of that with a very limited time, because there are only 24 hours in a day. So it's all a big effort. But if you really believe in your idea and your project, you're actually quite happy dedicating your life to that. So it's a combination of something that is very hard, but it's very fulfilling at the same time.
So if you were to describe that experience to the younger generation, I'm sure they'd get super excited and say, I want to be an entrepreneur. But what about you when you were younger? Was that your vision? You say, I want that exciting but challenging life as an entrepreneur, or did you have a different vision for yourself?
Well, I think I consider myself lucky because I've had that in business vision or entrepreneurial vision since I was very young. So both my grandparents, my mother was an entrepreneur. Some of my uncles were entrepreneurs themselves. So I've seen that since I was very young. And since I was, I think 15, when, you have to start making some decisions on what you want to study, what you want to do with your life, where you wanted to go. I had it quite clear what I wanted to become. And, me personally, I like being part of projects that I fully identify with, where I feel valued, and where I can learn and work in teams with other people. I've worked in other companies before, but sometimes I felt like I was part of a process rather than a project. So I decided to, after 2 projects that I tried to create while I was at university that didn't succeed, I had this opportunity, for which I am eternally grateful for Carlos and Susana, the promoters of 2EyesVision and the inventors of the technology. And they gave me the opportunity to join them. So that's what I followed.
Great. So we've looked back, kind of figured out how you got here. What about the future? So I'm jumping around a little in the timeline of your life, but what do you see for the future in the next 5 years for you, for your team, for 2EyesVision?
This is a very difficult question. Like, what do you want to be when you grow up, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always asking myself that.
I don't know. Am I already a grown up, or I'm still getting there? But no, I mean, what we've created here still needs to materialize further. So I see myself in 2EyesVision in the next 5 years. Hopefully, the market feedback is being great. Hopefully, we can manage to have a big penetration. But what it looks like, at least for us, the next 5 years are going to be very challenging. We have to do mass commercialization. We have to create medical advisory boards. We have to create a bigger team, reach agreements with distributors worldwide. So, you don't do all of that in 1 or 2 years. We have a lot of work still to do. And we'll see after that. We might we might want to reach some partnerships with bigger companies. We also have other technologies under development here. Maybe we can also incorporate that to our portfolio. So yeah, we in the next 5 years, that's what we're planning.
Great. So last question, this is how we wrap these up with all of our startups and entrepreneurs. Give me some advice or some final words of wisdom. You've already been very inspiring, so the pressure's on to just give me 10 words or less, what message you'd like to leave people with who are, either starting off their own venture, or they have an idea, or they want to be an entrepreneur themselves.
Do something that you really like in an industry that you really believe, because you're going to be spending a lot of time there. So you better like it. Be patient. Things don't just come. Everything has to be hard work. So be patient, but do the hard work and have an amazing team that you can rely on.
And so, Álvaro, thanks again for joining me. We'll put the link to your website, to the 2Eyes website, in the description box, so people can learn more about your company and about your technology. To our listeners and viewers, thanks for tuning in. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you click the subscribe button below. We put out videos every week. See you next time. Thank you.